One thing that keeps me puzzled, despite having studied finance and economics at the world's best universities, the following question remains unanswered. Why is it that 5,000 units of our currency is worth 1 unit of your currency, where we are the ones with the actual gold reserves? It's quite evident that the aid is in fact not coming from the West to Africa, but from Africa to the Western world. The Western world depends on Africa in every possible way, since alternative resources are scarce out here. So how does the West ensure that the free aid keeps coming? By systematically destabilizing the wealthiest African nations and their systems, and all that backed by huge PR campaigns, leaving the entire world under the impression that Africa is poor and dying and merely surviving on the mercy of the West. Well done, Oxfam, UNICEF, Red Cross, Life Aid, and all the other organizations that continuously run multi-million-dollar advertisement campaigns depicting charity porn to sustain that image of Africa globally. Ad campaigns paid for by innocent people under the impression to help with their donations. While one hand gives under the flashing lights of cameras, the other takes in the shadows. We all know the dollar is worthless, while the euro is merely charged with German intellect and technology, and maybe some Italian pasta. How can one expect donations from nations that have so little? It's super sweet of you to come with your colored paper in exchange for our gold and diamonds. But instead, you should come empty-handed, filled with integrity and honor. We want to share with you our wealth and invite you to share with us. The perception is that a healthy and striving Africa would not disperse its resources as freely and cheaply, which is logical. Of course, it would instead sell its resources at world market prices, which in turn would destabilize and weaken Western economies, established on the post-colonial free meal system. Last year, the IMF reports that 6 out of 10 of the world's fastest growing economies are in Africa, measured by their GDP growth. The French Treasury, for example, is receiving about $500 billion year in, year out, in foreign exchange reserves from African countries based on colonial debt they forced them to pay. Former French President Jacques Chirac stated in an interview recently that we have to be honest and acknowledge that a big part of the money in our banks comes precisely from the exploitation of the African continent. In 2008, he stated that without Africa, France will slide down in the rank of a third world power. This is what happens in the human world, the world we have created. Have you ever wondered how things work in nature? One would assume that in evolution the fittest survives. However, in nature, any species that is overhunting, overexploiting the resources they depend on as nourishment, natural selection would sooner or later take the predator out because it offsets the balance.
Just watch their faces. Did you watch their faces? Africa, stand up. Stand up, Africa. Those people love us when we dance, when we sing, and when we rejoice and do any other funny type of thing just to entertain. Okay, when you look at the world and the way things are going, I don't know if you people have taken note of this. When an African tends to play football, in fact, when an African is famous, these are the type of people these people tend to propel to the eyes of the world. Mbappe, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Michael Jackson, and every other people, just because they tend to entertain them. Have you ever seen an intellect, an African intellect, that those people have propelled him to the eyes of the world? Never. Never. Because when you start talking things serious about your own integrity and dignity, they don't like it. They don't like it. Don't be deceived. These people are not with you. They just love you when you are a good student. As long as you start reasoning on your own, they are going to tear you apart. This is what we need to stand up and fight for our own liberty. They usually say colonization is over. That thing is not over. How the hell on this earth will you tell me that I'm living in Cameroon and the name of my currency is franc CFA? Where they produce my money is overseas, and even the country producing my currency is not using it. If I take it and and go there for an exchange, they will tell me that it is impossible. The chains were removed physically, but the one they left is not more physically, it's spiritual, and that thing is in our mind. This I saw a Pan-African woman that said the most dangerous African is an African with a colonized mind. Listen, if someone touches here on you, you're dead and gone. So I'm Refurbish Africa. I post similar content to this about the image of Africa, and my mission is to change the perception of how people see Africa. If you like such content, tend to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next video.